How the richest man in the world brought Disney down. It's hard to imagine a company as big as Walt Disney to be facing a hard time with its investors. This is the same company behind studios such as Pixar and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the highest-grossing film franchise of all time, with over $30 billion collected globally across all its movies. However, the fact of the matter is that the company's share price dipped from a yearly high of $143.50 in 2019, the year they released Avengers Endgame, to just under $90 as of the time I'm showcasing this video. What on earth could have caused such a massive dip to what was the pioneer of box office blockbusters only 5 years ago? Well, it has something to do with the popular saying, "Go woke, go broke." It also has a lot to do with the richest man in the world pulling them down by all means possible. So today we're going to look at how Disney messed up the biggest advantage in business history to now being swamped with damage control. Chapter 1: A legal letter that rang alarm bells. To kick things off, let's look at a recent legal letter that was sent to Walt Disney by the conservative nonprofit America First Legal. They accused Disney of hurting its own shareholders with a woke political agenda that has its family-friendly programs pushing anti-police and anti-white content. The 50-page letter, which was penned by the former U.S. Department of Justice member and AFL's senior vice president Reed Rubenstein, notes that the official streaming channel Disney Plus has integrated unnecessary programming such as its Rise Up, Sing Out cartoon, which tells young children that racism in the world affects me and you, and that their skin color is what defines them. The point remains that even if you try to favor minorities and disregard white, Caucasian people, it is still defined as racism, so it's a rather hypocritical statement, and more importantly, such messages are not needed in programs which are supposed to be fun for young children. In the letter, Rubenstein wrote, and I quote, "Woke virtue signaling has had economic and reputational consequences," adding that since February 2021, Disney's market cap has fallen nearly 40%, from $341 billion to $207 billion in March of 2024. This would be a worrying sign for any investor, even though the current market cap is still sitting in a comfortable position. Rubenstein continued, "Elsewhere, an episode of Muppet Babies depicts Gonzo, a bird-like creature originally thought to be a boy, struggling to tell his friends that he wants to wear a dress to a party." The letter further states he ultimately rejects societal norms and his biology by cross-dressing as the princess named Gonzo-Rella, whom the other Muppets celebrate. The purpose of this note was that it wanted to encourage Disney to ditch its progressive agenda and get back to its roots, which the company abandoned, quote, "in hopes of placating an insatiable activist movement that aims to radically reshape the Disney brand into something that is completely inconsistent with its history." These were the words of AFL Executive Director Gene Hamilton. There are more examples of this as well. On Disney Plus, classics like Peter Pan, Dumbo, and the Aristocats each feature mandatory, unskippable 12-second warnings about the harmful impact of certain portrayals of people and cultures that were wrong then and are wrong now, according to AFL's letter. The Rise Up, Sing Out cartoon, which is featured on Disney Junior, designed for viewers aged 2 through 7, also shows black characters warning peers that police might try to stop him on the street. Because he is black, the issues didn't escape the MCU either. Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania film released last year also described police firing tear gas at peaceful protesters. This letter is the latest of its kind from AFL, which was founded by Stephen Miller after serving as Donald Trump's senior advisor for policy and White House director of speechwriting during his presidency. With the way things are going right now regarding the presidential campaigns for the Democrats and the Republicans, it could be fair to say that Disney will be facing a lot of new problems if Trump comes back into power. America First Legal is self-described as an anti-radical left group, and the nonprofit has filed complaints with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission targeting woke. Corporations like Nike, Mattel, Hershey, United Airlines, and the National Football League, as well as school districts across the country addressing issues including discrimination against white people and pro-LGBTQ and pro-transgender initiatives. In addition, AFL also filed a federal civil rights complaint against Disney for violating Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 by suggesting that it uses race, color, religion, gender, or national origin as often the only motivating factor in Disney's hiring, training, and promotion decisions, as per a press release on the nonprofit's website. This is not an unfounded accusation either, as we will now look at how the richest man on the planet is not having any of Disney's agenda as well. Chapter 2: Elon Musk versus Walt Disney. It's no secret that Elon Musk is one of the more eccentric billionaires on the planet. The way he's made his money has been filled with all kinds of risks and unorthodox decisions, but all of those decisions have made him the wealthiest man on the planet, with a net worth of over $233 billion at the time of me writing this script. Technically, that's more than Disney's current market cap of around $164 billion. Once again, at the time of this script being written, Musk has made his hatred towards Disney and its CEO Bob Iger clear on multiple occasions. He had recently intensified his war on Disney and Iger, asking why the company didn't suspend its ads on Meta after recent allegations that content on its sites enabled harmful intentions towards children. The businessman's anger towards Disney and Iger started after the company pulled advertising from X, formerly known as Twitter. Musk bought the social media platform in October 2022 for $44 billion and has since rebranded it and cut the staff numbers. It wasn't just Disney, though, as several major companies pulled advertising off X right after Musk publicly endorsed an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory amid growing concerns over rising anti-Semitism on the platform. Disney had long been one of the platform's top advertisers, but it joined brands such as Warner Bros., Apple, and Comcast in no longer advertising on the platform. This didn't go down well with Musk, so in a flurry of tweets posted to X, Musk had called out Disney for still advertising on Facebook and Instagram after a lawsuit was filed Wednesday by New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres. The suit was filed after an undercover investigation allegedly revealed myriad instances of explicit content being served to minors, child coercion, or the sale of harmful material towards children, as per CNBC. The suit alleged that Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram's parent company, failed to identify questionable networks on its sites. Of course, Meta had denied those claims, but they weren't getting away so easily. Musk retweeted the CNBC article and added why no advertiser boycott. Bob Iger? You are endorsing this material. Another X account also tweeted the article, writing, sponsored by the Walt Disney Corporation. Musk retweeted this post, adding Bob Iger thinks it's cool to advertise next to child exploitation material. Real stand-up guy. As one would expect, this was not a good look for Disney. Musk then retweeted a post from Colin Rugg, the co-owner of right-leaning news website Trending Politics. The tweet read, New Mexico has sued Meta Mark Zuckerberg for allegedly enabling harmful material towards children to be distributed. Rugg also added screenshots of ads being run by Disney on Meta. He continued, hey Robert Iger, other advertisers, will you be suspending advertising on Facebook, Instagram like you did with X? Disney is currently running around 300 ads for Disneyland and Disney World on Meta. The lawsuit claims Meta was showing harmful content to minors, child coercion, and the sale of harmful material towards, according to New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres. I'll answer the question above. No. Advertisers will not suspend advertising because they're lying hacks. When Musk retweeted the post, he added, crazy that Disney has to be sued to stop this terrible behavior. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO first declared war with Disney when he told Iger to, quote, go F yourself when he appeared at the New York Times Deal Book Summit on November 29. What this advertising boycott is going to do is, it is going to end the company, Musk said when asked about Disney and other companies stopping advertising on X. And the whole world will know that those advertisers ended the company. Musk also spoke about Iger directly, saying don't advertise. If someone is going to try and blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go F yourself. Go F yourself, is that clear? Hey Bob, if you're in the audience, that's how I feel, don't advertise. Iger had spoken at the summit earlier in the day and also addressed Disney's decision to stop advertising on Musk's platform. I have a lot of respect for Elon and what he has accomplished, Iger said. We know that Elon is larger than life in many respects, and that his name is very much connected to the companies he founded or owns. By him taking the position he took in a public manner, we felt that the association was not necessarily a positive one for us. Chapter 3: Elon Musk vs. Disney Round 2. Yes, the fight between Musk and Disney doesn't just end with the advertising controversy. It's common knowledge that fans of massive franchises such as Star Wars and the MCU have been complaining about the direction these brands have taken when it comes to their messaging. From having more female-driven movies and TV shows to being a lot more inclusive, even in cases where most would argue that such a move is unnecessary, the public sentiment is loud and clear. It is true that art is subjective and stories change with time, but several online critics have also pointed out that Disney's way of adapting these stories has been a bit too extreme. As expected, Elon Musk also had a few things to say about this. He criticized Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm, a division of Disney, for the Star Wars franchise's direction. He accused Kennedy of endangering the series by promoting woke philosophy in the most recent spin-off. The Acolyte, a group of all-female Jedi, are introduced in this Leslie Headland-directed program, with Amandla Stenberg playing the lead role, as per the reports of the New York Post, according to a post on X that portrayed Kennedy as a franchise killer. With other Empire ships, Elon Musk stated that Kathleen Kennedy is scarier than the Death Star. To those of you who are not aware of what this is, The Death Star is a fictional space station featured in Star Wars, which is considered to be the Empire's ultimate weapon. Musk further criticized Kennedy's choices and the way characters were portrayed in The Acolyte, comparing her to a destructive force within the franchise. He voiced issues about Kennedy's storytelling style, which he believes is agenda-driven. Musk also accused Kennedy of being biased against men, stirring controversy. As one would expect, none of these things helped Disney's reputation. Then there's also the case of Gina Carano, which is a rather interesting one. In 2021, Disney fired Gina Carano from their Star Wars show, The Mandalorian, in a different instance because of her allegedly controversial social media statements. Carano filed a lawsuit against Disney, claiming she was dismissed for expressing political views. One thing led to another, and then Elon Musk decided to fund Carano's lawsuit against the media giant. Now, the message in itself could be considered as political, but everyone has the right to express their views, so it wasn't exactly an illegal act. However, Disney didn't like this kind of attitude, and they immediately fired Carano while also releasing a rather scathing message directed at her. Of course, this wasn't the first time the executives at Disney were having a problem with Carano because of some other instances of her standing up against woke culture. The actress had refused to use pronouns catering to trans people and instead updated her bio with the pronouns beep bop boop, which could be interpreted as a nod to the Star Wars robots such as R2-D2. However, the online LGBTQ community did not take kindly to this behavior, which led to a bit of back and forth between them and Carano. Even so, she refused to back down and maintained her stance, even terming these online activists as cowards and bullies. Carano would also go on to criticize the government, especially the voting process, which has been regularly questioned over the authenticity of voter IDs. Anyway, after the firing and Musk's support, things have been going well for Carano. As of July 25, 2024, a Los Angeles federal judge has denied Disney's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, which was filed by Carano after she was ousted from The Mandalorian 3 years ago. U.S. District Judge Sherilyn Peace Garnett, who was appointed to the bench by President Biden, rejected Disney's claim that it had a right to dissociate its own artistic message from Carano's outspoken political beliefs. "I am moved to tears," Carano wrote on her X account on Wednesday in response to the ruling. She continued, "After a brutal 3.5 years, I am being given the opportunity to move forward in the court of law before the judge and my peers to clear my name. I am so grateful for this opportunity." Carano is currently being represented by attorneys who were hired by Elon Musk via X. This is an important point because attorneys like these don't come cheap for a reason. Now that the case has moved to court, Disney will be sweating a lot. Even if they do happen to win the case, the company may not be able to stop a lot of documentation and past conversations being brought up as evidence and counter-evidence in court. This could further risk damage to the company's already fragile reputation. But the worries don't just end here for Disney, as their own people seem to be losing faith in the organization. Chapter 5: Racially Motivated Hiring. Michael Giordano, Senior Vice President of the Walt Disney Company, revealed that diversity, equity, and inclusion policies have hampered the hiring and promotion of white people. In footage circulating on social media, Giordano said, "I've been in the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR, and I have friends in other divisions. And they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the job." He also claimed that Disney uses buzzwords to avoid legal action. Giordano alleged that a mixed-race candidate was not hired because he was not visibly black enough and did not have the look they wanted. "They want a certain percentage of the diversity here," he said. A certain percentage of diversity there. He even went on to question his own chances of progressing at the company, saying, "As far as Disney is concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking at promoting." Giordano has taken a leave of absence since the video circulated on social media, and it's caused quite the alarm. It didn't take long for Elon Musk to also weigh in on social media, joining other activists calling for a boycott against Disney. Responding to the footage, the Tesla CEO said, "This is messed up." Musk previously claimed, "If you were discriminated against by Disney or its subsidiaries, just reply to this post to receive legal support." This wasn't the only time such a video was circulated either. The person who orchestrated this entire scandal is James O'Keefe of the activist group Veritas, and he seems to have a strong agenda against Disney. After releasing the explosive video with Michael Giordano, James O'Keefe would release a second undercover video with a Disney executive that claims the company does not hire executives who are not white or Jewish. The latest video shows Walt Disney Television's Director of Production and Finance, Sohrab Dave Macker, on what appears to be a date, being taped saying that the Walt Disney Company would not hire anyone as a C-suite executive who is not white or Jewish. Macker said, and I quote, "There's also a slight glass ceiling at Disney, I feel like there's a glass ceiling. It's not quite like in Reach yet. You're not going to get a CFO, I guess for lack of a better word, a non-white, non-Jewish, so I feel. And that being said, the two department heads are two Jewish men. It's not that I have anything against Jewish men. I'm just saying that people of color felt that and she quit because she just said I can't seem to like him. Macker was referring to a colleague of his who was a Hispanic woman who left the company because she felt that there was no room for advancement with Disney because she was not man enough. Now, this is somewhat opposite to what the earlier video had said, but it is important to note that the diversity aspect related to hiring actors for films and TV shows, whereas the white Jewish preference was for executives in position of power at the organization. These are two very different job roles and two very different requirements for them. Much like the video showing Michael Giordano discussing Disney's diversity and hiring initiatives, this video appears to have been shot without Macker's knowledge. Giordano was lured to the meeting via a dating website and believed he was on a date a woman who asked him questions about his job with the Walt Disney Company. Macker told the woman that as part of his job with Walt Disney Television, he tracks diversity within the company, and he has seen an increase in diverse hiring recently. He also admitted that Disney has inserted diversity when it's not really organic to the story, and that some of Disney's recent movies have flopped because the audience couldn't connect with the forced diversity. With the release of this second video, James O'Keefe and his Project Veritas have made it clear that they are coming for Disney. O'Keefe has promised more of these videos with Disney executives discussing the company's diversity initiatives and hiring practices. Now, Disney has not responded to either video. However, they did block the O'Keefe Media Group on Instagram. Macker continued by saying that he believed Disney CEO Bob Iger is corrupt and just wants to stay in power. It's not that he's a fan of Elon Musk either, whom he labeled as a narcissist, but he did agree with Musk that Bob Iger should resign. Since the first video discussing Disney's hiring practices, Michael Giordano has taken a leave of absence from his job with Disney. There has been no update on Macker's status with the company. I also feel it's important to let you know that Veritas has been known to deceptively edit its videos in the past, and we don't really have an official acknowledgement on these videos being genuine. At the same time, it is important to cover every single aspect of this massive drama that Disney has gotten itself into. Chapter 6: Bad Numbers and Hating Fans. Bob Iger may have been telling reporters that entertainment is the #1 priority of the company, but the box office revenues don't seem to be speaking the same language. Disney's movies have been consistently losing money at the box office, and this doesn't just extend to Marvel or Star Wars. As of February 2024, their last 4 films had lost an estimated $4 billion at the box office. Once Hollywood's most successful film studio, Disney was dethroned last year by Universal Pictures, which has only been going from strength to strength. The reason for Disney's decline? As per public sentiment, it has gone woke to an almost comical degree. Last year, the company admitted to investors that there was a growing misalignment between Disney's output and public and consumer tastes and preferences for entertainment. It stated that the consumers' perceptions of Disney's position on matters of public interest are risking the company's reputation and profits. Viewing figures and box office sales spell this out quite clearly as well. Audiences seem to be getting tired with scripts that are weighed down by extremist-level political messaging, which borders on cringe. Several online critics have claimed that the audience is fed up with storylines being mangled to fit progressive narratives. They are irked by Disney's desire to lecture them instead of entertain them. Even Disney franchises that were once guaranteed moneymakers have struggled to excite audiences of late. Marvel Studios used to regularly break box office records with its billion-dollar superhero films. As of 2019, Avengers Endgame became the second highest-grossing movie of all time. But in 2023, Marvel registered its worst ever year at the box office. Its biggest flop last year was The Marvels, which failed to break even by a massive margin. One reason it probably did so badly was that it features none of the characters that audiences are most familiar with. Instead of beloved, well-established heroes, The Marvels focuses on an ensemble cast of mainly diverse newcomers, with Brie Larson being the only recognizable face. Practically all of the new Disney films place a huge emphasis on this kind of diversity casting. Carrie Burke, president of Disney's General Entertainment Content Division, said in a leaked video in 2022 that she wants 50% of all Disney characters to be either LGBT or from an ethnic minority background. Disney television animation executive producer LaToya Ravenel has similarly said she is adding queerness wherever she can to the shows she oversees. Let's also take the whole Rachel Zegler controversy into context here. Ever since her casting as Snow White was announced in 2023, Zegler has used every opportunity to trash the source material as stereotypical and outdated. She has called the film's love story weird and accused Prince Charming of having literally stalked Snow White. Zegler claims that this new, updated version will focus less on romance and true love, and more on women being in roles of power. As expected, her statements attracted tons of backlash, and her more recent interviews have showcased Zegler as a humble and modest person. The Puerto Rico agency did the right thing here, But judging from the damage she has already done to the film, it's safe to assume that the Snow White remake is going to lose more money for Disney. Chapter 7: Hating the Fans. If there's one unspoken rule in the entertainment industry, it's that you should never disrespect your fans. Disney seemed to have let that rule slip out of their heads, especially when you look at the Star Wars team. Time and again, Disney has gone out of its way to alienate and insult the core fan bases of its franchises. The Force Awakens, Disney's first Star Wars film, performed well when it came out in 2015, but that was only because of the hype generated around the franchise finally coming back to the big screen. As the rest of the new Disney trilogy dragged on, the box office numbers trailed off. Meanwhile, some of the spin-off movies and series also fared poorly with audiences. The only thing many of the new movies had to shout about is their diverse casting. When fans made their displeasure known, they were dismissed as bigots and trolls instead of having their criticisms acknowledged. The Star Wars cast and crew got into a bizarre war of words with sections of the fan base in 2018 after Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico in The Last Jedi, left social media following alleged trolling by fans, something Rian Johnson, director of The Last Jedi, blamed on the so-called man-babies among Star Wars' audience, upset with its new direction. This is a disaster just waiting to happen, and as a result, there has been no new Star Wars film since 2019. The numbers are the only things you need to look at to validate these claims. Even if we ignore 2020, which was the year of the pandemic, Disney's box office results have gone completely downhill. The entire studio couldn't even hit $1 billion or sell 100 million tickets domestically in 2021. The numbers improved by a bit in 2022, but a huge chunk of that had to do with the hype around two films: Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Black Panther 2. The promotions from Doctor Strange teased tons of cameos, so the film had a strong opening, but the dip in collections after that was staggering to say the least. What should have been closer to $2 billion in global collections couldn't even cross the $1 billion mark. Then there's Black Panther 2, which obviously had an emotional angle to it due to Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate demise. Apart from that, nothing was of real substance, with Thor: Love and Thunder and Lightyear both disappointing heavily at the box office. 2023 was better, with the third Guardians of the Galaxy film actually finding favor with the audience due to it not being woke, but even so, the budgets associated with films like The Little Mermaid ensured that even domestic collections of almost $300 million wouldn't be enough to save it. There's also the fact that foreign markets don't respond favorably to these political ideals. The market share and ticket sales have had a rough patch recently, and these are stats that can't be dismissed. This fall from grace has coincidentally given rise to the popularity of foreign content, especially from Asian markets, which do not abide by the woke laws. Let's compare something like Pixar to anime, as they are both catering to similar audiences for the most part. Anime has always been a popular genre, but despite almost 80% of its foreign market being lost to piracy, the global anime industry was projected to almost touch $50 billion by 2030, as per a report in 2020. Those projections have already beaten the estimates as of 2023, when the global anime hit a market cap of $31.2 billion, as opposed to the projection of roughly $28 billion in the report. Compare that to Pixar, which has only just gotten its first big hit in a while with Inside Out 2. Needless to say, the agenda that Disney has been trying to push has only taken it down more than anything else. Chapter 8: Bob Iger fights yet another day. Bob Iger probably has the most stressful job right now, but he did gain a small win recently by defeating Wendy's chairman Nelson Peltz in the infamous proxy vote. Peltz was so annoyed by the management of Disney that he tried to usurp some seats from the board for himself. He did have some valid pointers, such as the whole fiasco with the Florida bill, but his method of trying to overthrow Iger was anything but subtle, and that resulted in a considerable defeat for him. After all, shareholders are aware of how a hostile takeover can adversely affect the company's structure. This means that the current management can function as it is, but there is a lot for Bob Iger to deal with moving forward. First of all, he needs to make sure that Disney is finding favor with its fans. In Iger's own words, the bottom line is that infusing messaging as a sort of a #1 priority in our films and TV shows is not what we're up to. He's obviously not going to openly admit that his company messed up, but this could be a sign that the company's investors have had enough of the propaganda that's being spread via its output. Nelson Peltz has already expressed his interest to sell off his entire stake in the company, and if Disney doesn't learn from its mistakes soon, he won't be the only one to do so. Chapter 9: Conclusion. Disney is the perfect example of go woke, go broke, but it still has time to get out of the hole it's dug itself into. For starters, films like Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine have made good money at the box office, so there is some momentum going the company's way. Also, the share prices have been steadily increasing due to Disney's announcements regarding their $1.5 billion investment into Epic Games. Their successful acquisition of streaming rights for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour documentary has also helped them find favor with a lot of young adults. However, they are still far away from becoming the commercial juggernaut they used to be known as. This is not to endorse any anti-woke sentiments, but too much of anything will always be a bad thing. So it's important for Disney and their management to figure out a way to strike the right balance. Maybe they can learn a thing or two from Warner Bros. And how they turned Barbie into a monster hit. If you like today's topic, then please like, share, and subscribe so that I can continue to make more videos. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to cover something you find interesting. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.